Okay, we are live.
We are live.
I mute you. We are live. I'm here with Samantha Hope. She is in Southeast Asia, in Thailand right now. She was in Bali, now she's in Thailand. And today we are talking about anger and pleasure. Are you allowed to be angry? Are you allowed to have anger? Are you allowed to have emotions? Are you allowed to have pleasure? Are you allowed to feel pleasure in this strange matrix cult? All right. Before we let Samantha speak, and she has a wonderful voice, I will just explain the technology right now. I get an echo when I don't mute her, so I have to talk, and then I have to mute myself and let her talk. So that's what we'll be doing today. And I am just going to read a little bit about Samantha, and then we're going to let her talk. So Samantha is a dance ritualist, a somatic facilitator, and a womb space holder, originally from British Columbia. She is devoted to guiding women back into their wild, natural state of being and the deep wisdom of the womb. At the heart of Samantha's work is the facilitation of the body's innate intelligence, honoring authentic emotions as they rise, move, and dissolve. She supports women in reclaiming a felt sense of safety and oneness, inviting them back into the pleasurable sensation that is our birthright. Okay, she is also a yoga certified teacher. She's a tantra practitioner, trauma-informed de-armoring specialist. She also has a degree in social sciences with the focus in the history of sexuality. She's a very interesting person to talk with, and she's also my friend. I love her very much. She is super fun, super silly, super smart. So let's chat with Samantha. So the first question I have for you, Samantha, is around anger and emotions. What is alive for you right now? What's happening? You're unmuted.
First of all, I love you, Monique. Such an honor to be on your show. We've just been watching each other rise in different ways of helping support people during these crazy times. So it's an honor to be here.
Yay!
Yeah. Hello, everyone. Okay, so the question I think it's a bird.
Oh, it's a bird.
In the background.
Okay.
Also very connected. Yeah. There may be some sounds, so excuse me. I'm in the wilds, northern Thailand country, which is also something I really care about, is connecting to nature. And so, to answer your question, what is alive for me around anger, pleasure during these times is the thing is, what I would say to people and alive for me is feeling the feelings and not going into stories so much in the mind. That's what's been feeling alive. I mean, considering a lot of us still coming from this European conditioning, we were told that a lot of our emotions as children, to be like respectable in society, there is something wrong. So with my clients and even myself and society, I see where people, when they're not owning their own feelings because of what they've been told, we literally project onto other people. So if I'm feeling like I might be feeling off because maybe my nervous system, I just feel scared. And then I go into a story and maybe I blame my partner. That was a big thing, is like actually creating so much association with anger or sadness or grief that sometimes didn't really have much to do with him, but I was putting an overlay of blame because he was the closest person to me, because of still that subconscious societal shame around feelings that are natural. Speaking of nature, if you see like a dog get in a fight with another dog, they will shake afterwards and then they'll be gone. And then, you know, this is a somatic response to a feeling or around anger, and then regulating again. So our emotions help us regulate. So yeah, that was my answer, my long-winded answer to your question.
Uh-oh.
Uh-oh.
I'm going to mute you while I talk. It's so funny to have to do that. As a female, as me, I feel like I'm often in conversation, and the conversation is not like this and this, it's like this. So having to mute you is not my conversation style. Thank you for that answer. Something I've been thinking about anger as well is like, it can be very clarifying. It can be very purifying. And in English, as far as I know, I've studied linguistics, but I haven't studied these words specifically. Like, I feel like we need different words for different types of anger. But sometimes we'll say like righteous anger, sacred anger, or like rageful, or we do, there is a couple of different words, but I have felt that the anger that I've experienced, especially in relationships, is like purifying, clarifying. I'm like, what the fuck? Like, this isn't what I want. What am I doing? And it's not always, it's just a purifying. Do you want to speak to that?
Very eloquently said and like detailed. I love that, Monique, about you. You're so like, let's go into it and be precise, which is important. Yeah, absolutely. In my women's groups, I had a whole anger kind of era because I was really cleansing some relationships that weren't serving, which I believe that, you always meet your match, my de-armoring coach said, which is hard to swallow sometimes, but everybody that you're in relationship with is a lesson. So maybe it's teaching you more self-love. And for instance, in relation to that, I find with women and with myself, I was maybe more of the people pleaser or the savior complex, which a lot of women have. And then I went into this facilitating and cleansing through anger. And so, yeah, it's purifying in the sense of, for one, emotions, uncomfortable emotions of what you're talking about are showing you what you need or what you want or what you dislike. And until you are in a situation, maybe you haven't been in that situation, and it's clarifying, like you said, oh, I'm feeling frustrated about maybe it's timeliness, and maybe you were, for instance, a person that was with the flow, but now you changed in your life and now you want more order or more responsibility, and your partner or somebody like being late or being with the flow might irritate you. So yeah, it's clarifying, it's illuminating. Fire is, right? And fire is also a boundary that has been crossed. And again, back to conditioning is like when you are, I find a lot of women and people in general are just told to essentially abide by hierarchy, like just listen to your parents. So when women or men go through this time period of rebellion or anger, it can also be purifying and cleansing and their sense of self showing up, where they had to abandon themselves essentially because they were told that that was the right thing to do. And for, as children, that's your provider, that's the person that you like is going to shelter you, is going to give you food, so that they your life source essentially. So yeah, there's a lot there with this so-called quote unquote word of anger, and there's still so much stigma. Like we're like people are allowed to cry, that's okay, but anger, because it is shocking, is still a highly stigmatized emotion. And that therefore I really like what you're bringing up. Like maybe I use the word sacred rage, so we have containers. I'll lead women through a sacred rage somatic technique, and I call it sacred. to associate rage now with something that isn't bad. As like if we just say anger, most of the time there's that association that it's bad. So I like that idea of, you know, there's different forms of fire energy, and it has a purpose. Every single emotion that we have, of course, has a purpose, because it's natural. Like, we can do it.
We're allowed to have that. We're allowed to have emotions, but we're not allowed to have emotions, depending where you are. Sacredly, yes, you have emotions. What did I want to say? Yeah, you were sort of touching on like adolescence and this, you know, the stages, seasons of our lives. I feel like that's so interesting, but I'm not going to go that direction right now. About the anger and pleasure. Sometimes when I'm making the bios and the descriptions, I'm saying things, and I'm like, I'm also asking myself the question, and I'm also like, yeah, maybe Samantha knows, or maybe we'll figure it out together, or maybe we'll just be left hanging. I don't know, but I have this curiosity. So I was thinking about like, yeah, this connection of anger and pleasure, and I think it has to do like around boundaries and that clarity, because when I know what I don't like, what's pissing me off, what's causing me to be like, no, I don't want that. I don't, you know, whatever it might be, or in a relationship, like, no, I need you to be on time, or like, no, I want the potatoes cooked like this, or, you know, whatever. Some things are more serious than others. How does this lead to pleasure? Like, you know, how can letting ourselves be angry lead to pleasure? And right before you answer that, there was one thing else that was coming to my mind about where'd it go? Come back. Oh, yeah. Sometimes we get angry about one thing, but we're not actually angry about that thing. But we're not allowed to be angry about the thing that we're angry at. So then we like misplace our anger, you know, and sometimes it's passive aggressive. If it comes out in a physical, like you're angrily vacuuming the carpet in the living room, but you're not angry at the carpet. Like that's one way it could come out, like in a physical sense. But I think it can also come out in conversations or whatever, when you just like fly off at someone for something silly. And then it's like, you're not really angry about the way I closed the door. You're angry about something that happened yesterday, but you don't feel like you're allowed to be angry about that. So now you're flying off the handle about this. I was thinking about that because I was like, in a culture where you're not allowed to be angry about certain things, how do you you start getting weird? It starts going sideways in awkward directions. Do you want to speak to that?
Really juicy. Yes. So when you were saying this last like misdirection of your actual anger, it made me think of the metaphor of a dam, which I think is important. So like a river's flowing and it's adapting and it's taking on, you know, like nutrients, and it's softening the sides of the bed. And but you know, when water is dammed, there's a block, it starts to fester, and all of that ecosystem starts to, there's disease, there's fester, they like all these things are getting all entangled and it's not flowing. That's what happens when you're not allowed to express your authentic truth, which is this throat chakra. This year, it's been amazing how many people have been like, Samantha, my throat, I'm getting these feelings of like this, like almost like somebody holding my throat. This huge theme around, I think this anger is coming up. So for the viewers, I'm talking about the chakras, but the solar plexus right in the center is where our self-identity is, and it's also fire energy. It's anger, and there's an association with the throat. So it's like, how do we clearly be able to express how we actually feel and what we want? And it gets all dammed up, and then that's where bitterness, or like that woman, oh, she's so, those types, this person that's complaining all the time. I have people like this, women in my family, and it's like, absolutely, it's because they don't feel like they have permission or that they can express what's really bugging them. And so, yeah, it offshoots, and then there's disease that if the person can't really express themselves, disease can happen. And what is disease? Is dis-ease. And to answer your question, so around anger and offshooting and not being direct, but how it links to pleasure, absolutely. The most sensual, those people that you feel that magnetism from, I'm sorry, are women that are like, can know themselves, can be angry sometimes, can be assertive, and also soft. And also loving, because that's caring. Like, that's caring for yourself. We talk about self-love, or they talk about be in your heart. Being in your heart is also knowing what you want and is your boundaries and looking out for you as well as everybody else. That's balance. So, I have a lot to say with that. It's chi energy. When it comes to the East, they talk about there's kung fu. And kung fu is about water and fire. And so be like water, but sometimes you need to be like fire. And when you have that chi force, you're essentially igniting your muscles. You're bringing up this fire, is like, and that water, that's where it gets juicy. That's this life force that you feel. And more in a relationship association is like, what happens to women is that they get cold, their wombs become frozen where they don't feel anymore, and just going through the typical, like, okay, that's my boyfriend or my girlfriend, I'm going to, I love them, but I don't know how to speak of what I really want or what frustrates me. Then the body starts to numb. And then there isn't all those indications of being ready for intimacy and things like that, because they're not really 100% saying yes, because there's all these micro things that are involved in intimacy. It's not just about pleasure and in relation to, it's not just about sex. Intimacy is understanding your partner and the nuances, and then it goes both ways. So I feel like I've said so much about this, and I could keep on talking because it's so juicy. It's so important.
It's so good.
One more thing I want to say, specifically a personal experience. So last year I went to Bali. So I'm here. I went to Bali again, and I had this healer. I was just attracted to this woman. She was doing a dance. And so she did this sound journey breathwork healing for me. And so there's chimes, and like she's speaking in tongue. It's very woo-woo, guys and ladies. It's very woo-woo. We're a little bit woo-woo.
You're a lot woo-woo.
Scientific and woo-woo.
Yeah. Same.
So she's doing all these things, and halfway through the session, and I'm getting some visions and whatnot, she hits the gong, and it's like dong, dong, dong. My body just goes, and I feel this bliss. I'm actually feeling it again. I feel this sensuous feminine. And what happened was the fire. That was the masculine. That was the yang. That was the protector that everybody has. Man or women. Man or lady. Sorry if I'm saying lady and like people aren't into it. I'm not an English major.
Male and female.
Male and female. Male and female. My point being is that when you have that anger and that earth fortified in your being, then you can really surrender into the feminine because you have your protector and your body knows that. And that's what happened. I felt so juicy, so magnetic, because that gong also cleared more in this woo-woo way or esoterically past energy in my system of when I didn't say no and all this reservoir and all these things. But yeah, that's the point, is that I felt the most juiciest and able to be in my healthy feminine when I had a healthy dose of sacred rage or, you know, my yang or masculine.
So important. Oh yeah, so many things to say. The divine masculine of the structure and the trust and the safety and the protection that each person carries for themselves. And like when I trust myself and when I speak my truth, whether it's I want spicy tomato sauce, I don't like the sweet tomato sauce, or I don't want you to touch my hand right now, or I'd prefer not to hug you, whatever it is, we like build this integrity within ourselves, and we can trust ourselves more and more with these tiny things that seem tiny, but they're all the building blocks to the essence of who we are. And when we're not afraid, like, even though I don't think that I'm very much like this, I still find it in myself sometimes. It's like we want to fit in with other people. And we want to, like, especially sometimes when there's just someone who I just think is so cool. Like, they're dressed a certain way, their hair is a certain way, and I'm just like, oh my gosh, they're so cool. And then all of a sudden you put yourself in this position where it's like, I'm not as cool as them because I think that they're so cool and I'm not cool like that or whatever. You know, like I'm saying it in a sort of a teenage high school kind of way, but we still do this as adult women. And then, oh my gosh, don't lose the train of thought, come back to me. Where was it going with that? I lost it. Lost the train of thought. I was thinking about that cool woman and I lost my train of thought. Oh yeah, like when we're trying to make somebody like us. We want them to like us. So it's like they pick the pink chair or whatever. So then we're like, oh, we'll pick the other pink chair because like I want to match them. I want them to know that I like what they like, and I want them to think that I'm cool like them. So we do this sort of pleasing matching kind of thing. Whereas when it comes to like divine feminine, divine masculine, it is attractive like when the other person is in their own power and like doesn't agree with everything. Like I don't, like in life with friendships and romantic partnerships, I don't want them to just be like, yeah. Like I don't want that. Because we're attracted to each other because we have like this oppositeness and this like growth friction, but also this beautiful flow and you know, enjoyment together. Anyways, that's another. That was good, but that was another track. What were I gonna say? I was gonna say something else.
I love it. See, now I'm getting into my fire. So important. So a couple things that you're bringing up is fantasy and fawning, following. And I have so much to say about this right now. In the age of technology, and some people follow astrology. This is the age.
Can you move a little closer?
Yeah.
To the mic.
Sorry.
Okay.
How's that? How's that? That's better?
That's better, I think.
So I have so much to say about this, about following, pretty much being fake, but because of this survival instinct of wanting to fit in, when we are putting people on pedestals and then creating fantasies and also fawning. Yeah, huge. And that kills that juicy, pleasurable energy. But it's also kind of understandable. Oh, and also polarity. You were kind of mentioning polarity, is that maybe you like this person because they actually show you a side of yourself that maybe hasn't developed as much. And that's what I think about polarity sometimes. It's like actually shining something that you don't feel as comfortable. So then you mimic, but then you're being essentially dishonest in a way. And so what do I want to speak to? I find that I've been really thinking about this more of as collective, where I'm seeing all this, and I don't know if I should say this on here. I'm a little bit like really honest and can like goddess culture, for instance. I mean, I support goddesses, but there's this whole fake power associated. And why I love you, Monique, because you are, as a person, as you know, a woman, you say what you feel and you're honest, and you also don't ascribe to certain just a certain image. And this is what I'm finding in the collective now, is people see how popular certain types of like influencers, for instance, they're really popular. Oh, I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna try that suit on. I'm gonna be this empowerment goddess, and I'm gonna say all these things according to the algorithms. But it's not uniquely maybe true to you. Or, I mean, it's the reason why I've been reflecting on goddesses, because it's like I am in this realm. I am a healer. I support women. I mean, I've been through, personally, I come from a line of sexual abuse in my mother's line, like intensely. So when I say this, I'm there for supporting the healing. But I see the disconnect when people are now associating sex and power and identifying themselves with a certain archetype, and they're missing the point of individuating it. Or I feel like I'm going off on a tangent now of what but it's like, it's the simulation, it's fake, it's like you're doing it because you think you're going to get power and you're going to be seen and you're going to be liked. But that is, I guess what I'm getting at, that's over focusing on the external. And what we're talking about is, even though we are not going to be liked sometimes because of our emotions, it is honoring our inner compass and who we truly are, which is an existential question. But like that kind of inner voice, you could call it soul, you could call it spirits, you could call it Yeshua, you know that alignment. And we need to honor our inner space just as much as it's tempting to just want to honor the outer and what is cool and what is popular. That's it's like it's a buzzkill, actually. Those people, if you're not listening to your inner, your juiciness comes from the inner.
It's so funny. That direction. I feel. I gotta mute you. I feel like I was going your direction because I was like picking up what you were. feeling and thinking about, and then you went my direction. So it's still on topic, but slightly to the side, but still relevant. So I have to address it. That like, it's so funny that you're saying that, because I come from a Christian a Christian church background with like, what would you call it? Like very conservative, and then we got less conservative, and then I was in like evangelical and charismatic side, and then like I was getting like more and more and more, and now I'm just completely off the deep end over here, because whereas like the titles are awkward, but for the sake of categorizing, let's say like new age non-church people discovered a whole bunch of things, and they were like Mary Magdalene and like goddess culture, and like, oh my gosh, like we're allowed to be powerful women, and we're allowed to like Mary might have said some really great things that were trapped in the mountains for thousands of years. And so there's been like all this revelation and like waking up, and like, oh, we have power, and like all these things. And that looks really freaking weird and cultish coming from like the Christian perspective. You're like, what are those people doing over there? This like that's not no. But then like I made a post today. I was like, the more I make fun of something, and I'm not like a total mocking kind of person at all, but maybe I'll just say something joking with a friend, or I'm thinking in my head or whatever. Almost every time I've done that, I become the thing. I'm like, oh, those like modern dancers, it looks so ridiculous. Like, what are they doing? That's hilarious. That's kind of a stupid way of dancing. And now I'm like, I love modern dance. Let me dance to a poetry with my body. Like, that's the only way I can say it properly. So so what I'm getting at is that like I have been discovering like these Mary Magdalene things, and like, okay, what is this goddess culture? Where does it come from? And like, yes, there is some things that I think are life-taking, and there's some things that are life-giving. So that's what's fresh for me, is that like actually in my world, it's basically illegal to talk about these things. And yet here I am reading books, talking about it. And I know I'm going to get disowned by a bunch of Christian friends. But, stay on your path with what's authentic and aligned. And then there's like this other thing that comes to my mind, is that sometimes when you, like as a child or even as a teenager, when you see somebody who has something that you're interested in, you do mimic them and you do copy them. Like you're a high school teenager, and like there's someone at school you think is kind of cool, and then you come home and you keep using the vocabulary, you keep like doing the gesture that they do, and your mom's like, what's going on with you? Like, why is this your gesture now? Why do you keep using this word? You're like, well, because Elizabeth at school does it, and I just want to try it on to see if I like it. And so then you like copy and mimic and pick up these things, and later you decide like, yeah, that's a part of me now. Or you said like, actually, no, I don't like that. Or I like this other part of her, but I'll leave that part. So it's like, that's a part of human nature, sort of mimic and copy. And I know you're dying to speak, just give me one more second. And then like the other part of it is that, yes, I do see things on Instagram and YouTube that make me cringe in a bad way. That like, is that like, what's going on here? Is this her true, authentic, like grounded? Is this how she really feels? Or is she just trying to make $1 million by saying stuff? And I think that's where like our discernment and wisdom has to come in, because honestly, I have heard people who don't believe it themselves, but know if they can say things a certain way that they'll get certain reactions. I've seen what I believe is that. I can never truly know, but from looking and watching, that's what I think I'm seeing. And they say certain things where I'm like I kind of believe what you're saying, but the energy you're saying it with is off. And then I can hear someone else who is saying almost the same thing, but they truly believe it and they're like embodied with it and it's authentic. And so it's like, we don't have to fake, we don't have to pretend, and we don't have to like do something that's not in the moment that we're in right now to try to be liked or to try to get the money or to try to feel, you know, whatever it is that we're trying to get. Unmute.
Love it. Love it. Love it. What you said that really resonated, which is a big thing that I've been thinking of and how I'm re-envisioning my services and my coaching for actually women and men, because a lot of us want to come together, right? And so it's so important. And Monique understands this, like you're also helping men. Is you said grounded. And that's what I feel in this conversation about emotions and these times where the emotions are wild and chaotic. Like we're on the precipice of world wars, things like that. It's because, like you said, offshooting emotions. It's, you know, being scapegoated, projected, and this is what they do. We're constantly fighting. We're constantly fighting over gender. We're constantly fighting over fucking race. It's like the old, excuse me, I swore. Anyways, it's like, as a coach, as an embodied coach, and that cares a lot about women and men, it's simply coming to the body and grounding into your own temple or vessel, and whatever it looks like. That's why, you know, trauma informed or these certain somatic techniques that can be accessible to anyone, it doesn't matter what you look like, is so key. Because when we are, again, so focused, our predominant sense is eyesight. So we're predominantly like looking at a screen, and like you said, as a child, you're wanting to mimic a representative of somebody that has power, right? Because it's going to get you things. Is that, you know, to offshoot that natural instinct. Like there's nothing wrong with any of this. It's just about balance, I find. And like right now, so many people in this chaotic state of the world are also wanting economic power. It's to be, personally, I want to keep on learning and keep on being an advocate for equality and peace. And it's, you know,
body,
yeah.
So that other people can't help but feel that.
Yeah. And what else was I that you said? Yeah, and I just want to disclaim when you know, this whole I totally support women feeling like, you know, you're making food and you're like, oh, I'm a goddess. You should see my videos. I'm like, pleasure.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But it's just, why I use that as an example is that people are also using it for their own power and to make money. And I see it as an issue because it is also separating men and women sometimes. And that is also, there are some cults, there are some groups that are now essentially being stuck. I see it with some of my family members, like are stuck in a process. As in, for instance, like when I was in my sacred rage era, that was me alchemizing fire and water as crying, grieving, and getting angry is a part of a process. It's not where we claim and like, I'm an empowered woman And men, you know, all men are this way. That is incorrect. And that is why I've been really reflecting on this and how to represent myself and support people. Like, supporting the process, but let's not like get stuck in it and then be supported by culture and power that keeps the division continuing.
Yeah. So okay, I want to say something about that. We have about 5 minutes left here. That I feel like that's an important distinction between this like sacred rage and embitterment, angriness. I am 41 years old. I was born in 1984. I have been in many relationships with men. I have heard stories from women. I know my mom's history. Like, yes, I could write a couple of books about how angry I am at the opposite gender, what kind of fucked up shit has happened, et cetera, et cetera. And I love the conversation that's being had about the divine masculine and divine feminine. And it's like, it's awkward to even talk about because I know that it's so triggering for men and women. But yeah, this division that is happening, like the men against the women, and like, no, like women are bitches, and like, no, men are assholes, and like, it's true. It's both true. And men are divine, masculine, amazing human beings, and women are divine, feminine, amazing human beings. And then like when we get even deeper and deeper in our own asking questions and being present and being like, oh, I might not be perfect, or like, I know I'm not perfect, but like, da 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 da, like, and not having the defensiveness and everything. It's like, yeah, we do have we have the toxic masculine in our essence, and we have the toxic feminine in our essence as a woman. And so like I can meet women who are embodying the same toxic masculinity through brainwashing, through religion, through culture, through just that's how they grew up. But it can shift and it can change and we can realize things. And the men in men's bodies can like recognize this too. So I love this whole conversation like that. Like we carry divine masculine, we carry divine feminine, and that we have that's a whole other topic, but I'll just say quickly that we also have the power within ourselves of the way that we act and the energy pockets and things that we allow to exist in our sphere allows other people to act certain. Don't hear what I'm not saying, because I'm, there's some serious conversations that could be had there, but it allows things to be said and energies to happen. So it's like when this is something that's been coming up for me, is that like if I'm afraid of Christians judging me, I'm leaving space and I'm leaving like the reality that like Christians are going to judge me. So it's like it creates like more space for it to happen. And so that's a whole interesting like quantum field energy conversation. But so that's just a little teaser. I'll have to do another conversation about that. But yeah, this unity, like focusing on the unity that, like when I did that divine shift for the love of men, the 21 days of gratitude for men, and then the divine shift 4-week journey, some of the comments that came up on live videos and Facebook and stuff was so fascinating. Like some women are just like, no, like, fuck that. I'm angry. And don't you dare tell me that there's any good men in the world. And it's like, oh, okay. And I understand that energy too. But it's like this, yeah, just this coming together, this unity within ourselves, this forgiving of ourselves, and this looking at like, where do I have the toxic yang happening? Where do I have the toxic yin happening? And like, I actually love humans. I love humanity and I love humans. Crazy stuff happens. I'm not focusing on that 24/7. I'm thinking about like all the awesome people that I just love and the people who are doing great things and the wonderful things. Like, I've been in social justice. I've studied international development. I've worked in refugee camps. I can tell you all this shit. I know some of the dark, deep, weird shit. I don't have to focus and soak on that every day. Where you put your energy, you help it to grow. Okay, I'm talking a lot. I'm gonna stop now.
Beautiful. That's why I love you. One of the reasons. Yeah. I mean, that I liked what you were saying about also this quantum, like where your attention goes, your energy flows, and how also toxic. Talking about words, I think that there's a lot of popular terms in the healing community that could also be seen as the polar opposite. So it's just like, yeah, this life as a human is messy because we have these instincts and we have these things and we have this soul thing that is like sometimes in the opposition. But you know, yeah, lately for me, I feel like I'm personally in another rebirth and really questioning these things, and then also being really bugged by certain people on social media, to be honest. And I know that like that's toxic or that's shadow, but it's also the curiosity again of why you have a feeling, back to our anger or pleasure, around what this person is representing. And is that's another word for our viewers, is like, can you be curious about your emotions? Can you be curious about what perturbs you and what elates you? You know, and that curiosity and discovery versus getting on the band camp, which is so easy around technology, of kind of like cementing yourself in a certain culture or a certain morality. And this is what I think, you know, if you imagine, again, water is the most powerful element, and fire, like a volcano. What is a volcano doing? It is essentially alchemizing this rock, this fortification, into new land. So it's death and rebirth. And why I bring this up for the metaphor around anger and pleasure, and we're talking about gender and culture and what's going on right now, is that if we can really, it's more of like a yogic philosophy, or, you know, I'm in northern Thailand and it's very Buddhist and Taoist, is like really try to non-attach and just be curious and just like love all of our experience and all of these people, even if it's hard. And that curiosity, when we can be faced with things that are really like, why are you so perturbed by that person? It's probably bringing something that's not integrated in you yet, or something that you want to be, actually, that you weren't giving permission. That can also be a thing. Is that, yeah, just being curious about your own, of like why, and loving it, and not, it's, we as humans, it's easier day to day, and it's more of this patriarchy or masculine to be like good or bad, black or white. But if we can be in that gray, like, and understand the multiplicity of our existence, that's where there can be great, profound wisdom, I think.
Hold on. That used to bother me so much. Like the idea that something isn't black and white. because it's like uncontrollable, mysterious, not really a church identified feeling that you're allowed to have. I do believe some things are life-giving, some things are life-taking. Like I use different vocabulary for things. But yeah, this curiosity and this, and we can end with this, that like, that all is well and all will end well. Like I can still feel something inside of me just wanting to grab a pitchfork and stab something. Like, no, like we must fight for the black and white. We must only be on one side. Like I can feel it like inside my energy realm. But then like the part that's really winning is just like all is well and all will be well. It doesn't mean that I don't fight for justice when the moment arises or is in front of me, or that's what I'm being called to. It doesn't mean this, it doesn't mean that, it doesn't mean that. But it means that like we can have this peace, we can have this love, and that like the power of the love. I use the like the word woo woo like jokingly. I don't actually use it that much anymore because it bothers me. Just using that word as if like, oh, like don't mind me, I'm just being woo woo. When actually it's the most fucking like real thing that's ever existed. Like frequency, energy. But yeah, just I get excited and then I get off track. What was I saying before that? Oh, the black and white. Yeah. Just curiosity.
Yeah, well, that's the thing. It's more controllable. You can more see when things are, our brain does it for a reason. That's what I was saying. It's more functional. Mm-hmm. But in this conversation around the feminine or the yin, intelligence is the primordial. And I'm just like saying that now I do believe that even though it's chaotic right now, we're coming into a balance of this masculine and feminine. We've been like very much of this masculine ethic, or you could say yang. It's about like efficiency. It's about what you can see. It's about, also associations with, if you are a saleable body. Like I could go on to body politics until the cows come home. But it's just like that, without looking at the mystery, the cycles of nature. The cycles of nature are dying and there's rebirth. Things are disgusting in nature, but we still call them beautiful. The moon cycles, like all these things it's cyclical. Whereas black or white, to me, is more linear. But when we bring them together, what do we get? We get sacred geometry.
We got goosebumps.
Yay. So I know that this is more, about emotions and anger and pleasure. And we're getting into like divine union and esoterics. But
hold on. You do? What do I want to say? Is there something, I know that you do sessions, so please tell us how we can get in contact with you, what kind of sessions you do. And also, I didn't ask you this beforehand, so I'm putting you on the spot, but is there, like, if you said you had a season of rage, and I feel like I've had season of rage as well. But then I feel like, monthly or even like every 3 months or whatever's happening, there is sometimes when something just needs to be clarified and like angered out kind of thing in a healthy way. Do you have like any tips, or is there like one kind of thing that you do, or some like quick, give me a quick fix, Samantha. Like, what can I do? Like, what am I allowed to do if I feel like some kind of anger coming up and I just feel like I gotta release this, or like what's a healthy way? Do you have like, is there anything?
Oh yeah. I think that when it is sacred rage, it's taking the responsibility that you're feeling this way. So, and not linking it actually to another to alchemize the fire. Because there's a difference between articulating what, you know, kind of bugged you and being in the rage. So I would suggest to viewers and that are going through a period of honoring your rage and your fire is that you have a coach, or you can do these exercises with yourself in your own home, in your privacy, or with another friend if you need to be heard. That happens in my coaching sessions too. But I think it's really important to kind of let the fire simmer and let your body nervous system essentially come back to more homeostasis before you're going to confront a person. Because this is what's happening, is like people are like puking up rage and grief, and then that other person has their own stuff too. Just because you know, went through all these experiences doesn't mean that other person doesn't. And mind you, you know, I have been messy in my partnership sometime. I'm human. I say this, but it can be hard. But so some of the techniques would be like, you know, in my women's groups, feeling into your ground, like grounding first. So more yoga techniques of like really feeling your feet on the floor, like lowering your weight, really feeling that first. And then you can do shaking, which literally you're shaking all your limbs. You can also raise your heels. I just learned this recently, actually, and just bring them down. That actually releases anger and stabilizes your nervous system. Just essentially going more on your tippy toes and then bringing your heels down. Yeah. And you feel this, like, this kind of surge of juicy fire, and then you feel calm. Also, there is this Osho technique where in your solar plexus, the seed vowel is huh. And so if you're jumping, and every time you jump, you push away what you don't want, and you say huh, like that, like huh. If you really say it and you're coming from the earth with the fire, because we need wood, we need something for fire to burn. Really coming from like deep down in your lower body and you pushing away, huh? Oh my gosh, you do that for a few minutes, for a minute, feel amazing afterwards.
Love that.
Yeah. And there's more, like screaming, silent screaming into a pillow. Also, when screaming therapy is a thing, but I would recommend to people, because some people lose their voices. You know why? It's not grounded. You know, like, you know, that is, you're going to lose your voice.
I've seen that happen. Yeah.
Really fortified. Again, like earth and fire is your masculine. So doing some of those techniques when you're feeling off, you know, the silent scream. Oh, one more. It's like I could show the camera. So if you bring your hands together, you go like this, and then you ground in. Let's see if I could do it. You ground into your body, and then you shake. So you go like this. It looks crazy.
Looks like a toddler.
So you're moving your elbows back and forth, and you're kind of shaking from your hips. So you're shaking and you're moving the energy, and you're also screaming into your hands.
We should be like toddlers and these things.
Yeah, exactly.
I used to be an nanny. Okay, this is such a yum. I wasn't sure if we were going to do 30, 45 minutes or 60, but we definitely had enough for 60, so we did it. Do you have any last thing that you want to say, and can you tell us how to connect with you?
Thank you so much, Monique. I love talking with you. I feel like we could talk forever. Such a juicy subject. My message to the viewers: be yourself. Try to be yourself. It's the most important person. Yeah, simple. All the emotions are there for a reason. And also, it's hard sometimes. So, people that want to be in their mind or have a harder time with emotions, be compassionate to them too, because maybe they weren't mirrored a healthy way of understanding them. And yeah, love yourself. Nature, this planet, connect with all the beings. It's miraculous to be here. And you're miraculous because you're individual. Nobody's gonna be exactly like you. So sending love. And how you can connect with me on Instagram, untamed_Samantha Faye. That is the branding I'm going by now. So I'm really connected to nature. So untaming yourself from all this conditioning to your true essence. And also, I guess, Samantha Hope on Facebook, and untamed_Samantha 888 on YouTube.
Sweet. Those link for Instagram below in the description. And you for sessions. If someone messages you on Instagram, they can book a session with you.
Yeah, if they message me on Instagram, or I'm just using my common email right now. It's samhope888@gmail.com. Most of my customers will meet me through events or now through YouTube. So you can just send me an email and inquire, or through Instagram.
Perfect. So good. I'm Monique Summerfield. Coaching. We have been talking with Samantha Hope at Samantha Faye. What do you call yourself? Coach, facilitator.
I'm an embodiment coach.
Say it again.
I'm an embodiment coach.
Embodiment coach. Yeah.
And sacred sexuality facilitator as well.
Sacred sexuality. Thank you for being here. Thank you for taking your time. 7 a.m. was 4 p.m. for me. And I love you, sister. I will end this stream, and we can just chat off camera. All right. Thank you, everyone. Tell us what you think in the comments. Ask your questions in the comments. Love you.